On the famous music grower of Nashville, Tennessee, this is On the Record. I'm Suzanne Alexander, and so excited to have in the studio Zach Top joining us. I am a fan. I got to tell you, I'm new to the party. I know a lot of people that have known you and been following your career like, welcome to the party, girl. But man, you are so good.
Well, thank you so much.
Get a little backstory on your life. From Washington State, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Kind of had a bit of a ranch life out there.
Yeah, so to speak, a little bit of one is a good way to put it. Early on, I wanted to be a team roper. I wanted to be a cowboy, and then I realized I was no good at all that. So I picked up a guitar, and I was a little better at that. So I grew up on a farm, and I lived in a little town called Sunnyside, a little dairy farm town out there. My dad's been in the livestock business for a long time, and so, at least all of my life for sure. And so kind of grew up around all that stuff. Like I said, never was good at it, so got out of it and found something I was good at.
And was it unusual, or was music in the family?
No, music not really in the family. All my siblings play. All my siblings are really real talented. I got 2 older sisters and a younger brother, but my parents don't play a lick, don't hardly sing a lick, and
so
other than singing in church.
Well, when you start singing, were they like, hey, wait a second?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember what I sounded like back then, so I don't know if they saw it that early. But no, I was always, kind of had the bug for music for sure. They played a bunch of classic country stuff around the house. That was what we always had George Strait on. And somewhere I remember, early on, one of my first memories is we'd go up to the ranch that my dad owned, and we'd feed cattle, and we got in his old blue Chevy pickup, and we'd put a tape in of Marty Robbins gunfighter ballads and trail songs, and I had but one chance, and that was to run. Grew up on that stuff, so a bunch of old classic country.
Yeah, so you were raised right, for sure.
Well,
yeah,
I think so.
Love that music.
Yeah.
So when you started performing, did you ever have like a job as a teenager, or was it music from the get-go and you were really kind of playing little gigs around town? It
was pretty much music from the get-go. I started playing and singing, taking lessons and stuff when I was 4 years old, and and then by the time I was 7, I think, we started a little family band, me and 3 of the siblings. So we had a little bluegrass band. We'd go around to all the Grange halls and open mics where they wouldn't throw stuff at us and play our hearts out. And so that it was a lot of that. So all my summers pretty much were spent going around to bluegrass festivals and playing little gigs, and did a bunch of that.
I love it. And I want to say that you kind of you teamed up with a band called Modern Tradition and fronted that band for a while. So good, in fact, that you guys won an award, and that was back in 2017.
We went and did the band contest at SPBGMA, SPBGMA. And they've got a big old band contest down there, and we entered it, and the first year managed to win it. So mighty thankful for that, and had a good hand in kind of getting a little more of a bluegrass career going, and had some fun doing that for sure. Grew up doing it all my life, so it's a way to cut your teeth too. Unlike a lot of guys today, and we look at artists that are kind of coming into the forefront in music, it's through social media and TikTok. But man, you really will work in the clubs, and from a little kid, really learning how to entertain. Absolutely. And
talk about making the jump here to Nashville and how that happened.
Yeah, that all came about kind of 2018. I ended up putting up a video on Facebook. A fellow named Daryl Singletary passed away, and that same day, he was one of my favorite singers for sure. Sitting at a bar in San Padre. And that same day, I put up a little cover of me doing one of his songs, Spilled Whiskey, and that kind of blew up for me online, and had a bunch of people calling and sending emails and stuff. And this one fella, Carson Chamberlain, sent me an email, and I really didn't think nothing of it. A couple weeks later, I was out on a gig, and my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, Kinsey, she called me, and she was like, hey, you remember this Chamberlain fella? And I said, I don't know, name rings a bell. And she's like, all right, I'm sending you a Wikipedia link, and you're going to want to look at it, and we need to email this guy back. So I looked at it and, seen he worked with Keith Whitley, Alan Jackson, produced all of Mark Will's stuff, and Easton Corbin and Billy Currington, a bunch of great music, and, was a hit songwriter and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's for real. We need to connect with this guy. So we started talking, emailing, phone calling, and then eventually I started flying into town once a month for about a week at a time, and I'd stay at his house, and he'd set up co-writes for us and listen to a bunch of songs, and he kind of, introduced me to the whole world of country music. I've loved country music since I was a baby, but kind of just, yeah, the inner workings of it and how it's made, sort of.
You seem like the kind of guy, too, that would be reading liner notes to me, like trying to figure out who wrote this and who wrote that.
Oh, yeah.
And
who
now,
played on it, all of it, yeah.
I mean, to say that you're in Nashville, first, that Chamberlain fellow that reached out to you, right? And here you are in Nashville, and you land a publishing deal with not just any publishing company. We're talking ties to Garth Brooks, big publishing company with Bob Doyle. Talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah, it was wild. It ended up being, it was kind of right after I got moved to town full time. I think 3 weeks after, a couple of the guys that worked for Major Bob reached out to me. They'd seen some TikTok videos or something, so they hollered at me, wanted to meet. It was during COVID times, of course, so we set some chairs out in the parking lot behind Bob's building, and I sat there and played him a few things, and Bob basically said, "All right, well, what you need?" And I was like, well, I need a deal. I need to make a paycheck doing this somehow. So, I think they sent over first draft of paperwork the next week. So, mighty fortunate and feel really thankful to get hooked up with those folks. And
so, did you meet your wife in Washington, or did you guys
in Colorado?
In Colorado?
I moved to Colorado when I was 17 and went to school there for a minute. Thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer. Got hooked up with Carson, and all of a sudden I didn't want to be a mechanical engineer no more.
So you were in the process of getting your degree and going to school. So when you said to your parents,
they were
Mom,
thrilled.
Dad, they were because
thrilled.
they knew this is where your passion was.
Yes. They said, yeah, you should quit school. You're going to make it big in music.
Literally, you're now newly married, and you guys are living in a new place, and thinking, I've really got to kind of buckle down and make this a living.
Yep. Still got to eat. Music's fun and all, but got to eat.
Right. Well, we're going to have you stick around because we're going to hear about some of these performances. I know, and some of these songs that we're going to talk a little bit more about, because you do have a new album coming as well.
Heck yeah.
June 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the release of that new record.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like myself have been nothing's changing. I've been streaming some of that music on Spotify and the album that you released last year, and I'm just head over heels in love with your sound and what you do, and the songs are just phenomenal. Stay with us a lot more when we come back here at Zach Top on the record. Stay with us. Hey, welcome back to On the Record. I'm Suzanne Alexander in the studio with Zach Top, who's got a brand new album coming out June 21st. But man, I've been listening to a lot of the songs that you've had on Spotify, and I've been streaming, or wherever you guys stream your music, find this guy's music. And I said, writing with some of the best. You said Carson Chamberlain was a guy who really kind of found you online and brought you to Nashville, and that's how you kind of came your way. But guys that you were listening to, like George Strait and Keith Whitley, I cannot imagine that now you're in the studio working with the guys that wrote those songs and worked with your heroes.
Yep.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall. Was there any intimidation? You don't seem like you get intimidated at all, really.
Well, I put on a good front then. No, it's funny. I really, as far as, intimidation, I really don't get intimidated by it much. I'll kind of play and sing in front of everybody, but I'll tell you, getting into the writing world, I think the first co-write we had when Carson brought me to town was with Mark Nessler, who's, wrote Living and Living Well and Just to See You Smile, a huge string of hits. And that I pretty much clammed up in that first day writing with him. All the guys that we've been writing with are so nice and like so helpful and try to be, always really constructive. And so I've tried to be a sponge and soak up as much as I can and just, pick their brains on how they're doing whatever they're doing and, pick up as much as I can. But yeah, guys like him, Tim Nichols, Paul Overstreet, it's wild to be kind of in the room with them. Exactly like you said, I grew up listening to their hits, that they had on the radio, and it's like, now you're making a song with me. My goodness.
Well, it's like a master's class, really, in songwriting. And explain for people who may not know, do you come with an idea, or you just sit and kind of lay back and go, okay, guys, let's see what we got here? Or?
A lot of times we'll come with an idea, whether it be a title or a melody thing that I've been messing with. I think I kind of consider myself more of a melody guy. At least I feel like I contribute more on that front.
So the melody, the song, and lyrics will come later to you? Is that how it works, or they come together?
I mean, it's they all come different. But it's, a lot of times you start with a title and you kind of feel what the vibe of the song based on that title, and then start looking for a melody thing or a riff or a intro thing, whatever that's kind of feels like it fits that title, and then we'll go from there. And Yeah,
I'm going to single
I
out
just try to hang on tight.
Hold on to your hat and hang on tight.
Exactly.
There's the Sun. It's a song, man, that I literally go, wait, this is a classic. This is a cover. Like, I literally had to look and go, no, this is a new song.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Tell me how you wrote this one. Tell me about this.
It's actually a funny story on this one. This was in COVID times when I just got moved to Nashville, and we were supposed to be writing on Zoom and whatnot, and there was a big old snowstorm 1 week, and I couldn't get to town, so I had to figure out what Zoom was and what the internet was and what computers was, and so my wife gave me a crash course, and I got on Zoom and we tried to write a song, and it was funny. I hated it. Zoom's a terrible way to write songs, but we figured it out and come out with a really, really special song. Wrote this with Wyatt McCubbin, another one of my favorite co-writers, and Carson. And I think Wyatt came in with the idea, and it was kind of, we got done with that and kind of had chills. It was like, this is going to be something here. So we kind of knew from the start we definitely wanted to cut this, and ended up cutting it late last year, I guess. And love how the record came out, and it's one of my favorite songs to perform.
Oh, it's so good. I'm going to swing this mic around for you,
Yes,
and I'm
ma'am.
going to cut out of the way and let you do your thing here.
Beautiful.
And you set that up the way you need it. Zach Top, everybody. There's the Sun.
Let's just jump right in. I might sound crazy now, but I'll say it anyhow, 'cause I want you to hear my heart, baby. I'll never win no prize for pretty words and rhymes, but you'll feel what I'm feeling, baby. Thought I knew what beautiful was. There's the sun, there's the moon, there's $1,000,000 skyline views, and there's Rocky Mountain highs, oceans rolling wild and blue. There's the sun, there's the moon, then there's you. Baby, just think about, could you imagine life without all those things, all those beautiful things? Now you know what I'd feel like with no you in my life, like the stars with no sky to hold 'em. That world ain't one I wanna live in, girl. There's the sun, there's the moon, there's $1,000,000 skyline views, and there's Rocky Mountain highs, oceans rolling wild and blue. There's the sun, there's the moon, then there's you. Thought I knew what beautiful was. There's the sun, there's the moon, there's $1,000,000 skyline views, and there's Rocky Mountain highs, oceans rolling wild and blue. There's the sun, there's the moon, then there's you.
I'm going to pull this out of here,
Yes,
but I'm
ma'am.
trying not to get teared up because, boy, that is just unbelievable.
Thank you so much.
Were you an old soul as a kid?
I had to have my Wranglers on and my shirt tucked in and all dressed up just right, and I'd throw a fit if my shirt wasn't tucked in right, even as a baby, and all this kind of thing. And yeah, they definitely kind of raised all us kids up old school, and yeah.
We're going to stick around, of course. Zach is going to stay with us. We're going to talk about the new album that's coming out.
Yeah.
Find out how many songs and the co-writing on that, and of course going to be playing a brand new single as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay with us, a lot more right here on The Record. Hey, welcome back to you on The Record from our studios on the famous Music Row area of Nashville, Tennessee. Hanging out with just an incredible, talented man, Mr. Zach Top, spending time with you. Boy, it has been so awesome just getting to hear your story and getting to hear these songs. And we're not done. I want to talk about you debuting. You debuted, was it last year on the Opry?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Last July. It was pretty wild. I like to tell everybody, I don't think my heart came down under 200 beats a minute for about 10 minutes leading up to it, and about 15 after. It was crazy. I mean, that's country music. Everything you know about country music has come through there. It's the most historic and influential stage in country music. So to ever play that stage would be a dream come true, and just absolutely wild. And the fact that I got to do it that shortly after I got moved to Nashville was crazy, and just absolutely thankful for the opportunity, and still can't quite believe it, probably.
This is a story, and the Opry, of course, they do so many interviews too backstage, and this is a story that you're going to be talking about for the rest of your life, and that debut performance at the Opry. So I thought maybe take us back to that night a little bit. Did family come in, family and friends come in from out of state? And pack the house?
that was one of the most fun things about it. It was so funny. I was almost sad about it. I'd kind of course, when I found out I was going to get to be on the Opry, I'd told my whole family about it and whatnot, and they were all excited for me and everything.
Start booking airline tickets and hotels.
Right. Well, you'd think. But my parents were they just kind of, like, oh, that's awesome. We're so happy for you, and that's so great. And like, all right, thanks. And kind of kept reminding them it was coming up, and they never said anything. And then they never made plans to come out or anything. And then lo and behold, I showed up to the artist entrance out back, and then got back into my green room after we checked in and stuff, and they were sitting in the green room waiting for me. Yeah, my management team set that up, them and my wife, and so I think Jensen had to go right over before their flight was delayed or something. I don't know if it was coming in on time, and she had to go get him from the airport and drive him over.
So you didn't even think they were coming?
No, I was mad about it. I was like, come on.
That's payback. Now that I know your personality, that's probably payback for your family, right?
Exactly. No, yeah, it was crazy. And that was, the best feeling in the world to have them sitting in there, and really fun to walk in on them.
So since then, of course, you have played that stage. Does it get easier? Because I hear from artists that have been doing it, and even people that are Opry members that still talk, they step into that circle and their heart is just pop.
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen anywhere else like that.
Absolutely. No, it's wild. I do think it gets a little easier after the first shock of it. Right. You can kind of settle down, at least keep your breathing regulated enough to sing in pitch. But ever since it's crazy every time I get to walk out there, and but I love it. I hope they keep having me back.
They're not going to let you go, I can tell you that. We got the new album coming out June 21st, and about how many songs on this?
14 songs.
14 songs. Wow, this is a big one.
Oh yeah, well, it ain't nothing like old Morgan Wallen or Zach Bryan, but we're trying to get there.
You wait till those 34 or 36 songs.
Exactly,
you don't need that right now. You're good.
Exactly.
You had a hand in writing each one, and we've got the single. Tell us about the song you're going to perform for us.
Yeah. This one I wrote with another one of our frequent writing partners, Michael White, and then Carson is again. I can't remember. This was a long time ago, but it was a great song.
It's so funny that you guys write this a while back, and we're just getting to know it. But you've been living it for a while, right?
It's been living for a minute. It was. When we wrote it, it was just, we felt like it was so fun, and people would love it. And it started off sort of a guitar riff and a feel that I kind of wanted, and I think Carson had a title to go with it, and we kind of took it and ran. And I love how it turned out. We were joking at the end. The song's called "The Kind of Woman I Like," we, the verses is all describing her kind of, and Michael at the end, he goes, so just to be clear, none of us have ever found a woman like this, right? And it's like, yeah, we're making it up. It's just a perfect made-to-be scenario. But no, it's funny. I was drawing a lot of inspiration from my wife.
Oh, that is sweet. And I don't know if she had any inspiration on the cover art for the single. Just give you a little hard time. It's vintage. It's very cool.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Well, we thought it'd make good merch, and it'd be kind of an eye catcher for sure.
I love it. Zach Top, everybody. Let's hear you. I'm going to go ahead and spin this mic around for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's Zach Top.
All right, we'll see if we can remember how this goes. One that's a Friday night firecracker that you want to hold on to. One that's a Sunday morning go to churcher that you want to sit next to. That's the kind of woman I like. That's the kind of woman I like. One that drives like a bat out of hell, always looking for something to pass. One that knows how to just be herself, ain't putting on no act. Oh, that's the kind of woman I like. Likes to love and does it right. Keeps me coming back night after night. That's the kind of woman I like. Oh, that's the kind of woman I like. One that'll fight like a wildcat if you turn a redneck on. One that'll cry and take it all back, be the first to admit she's wrong. Oh, that's the kind of woman I like. Likes to love and does it right. Keeps me coming back night after night. That's the kind of woman I like. Oh, that's the kind of woman I like. Play one, boys. That's the kind of woman I like. That's the kind of woman I like. That's the kind of woman I like. Likes to love and does it right. Keeps me coming back night after night. That's the kind of woman I like. Oh, that's the kind of woman I like. That's the kind of woman. That's the kind of woman I like.
I have been listening to that in the Jeep, just blasting it with the windows down. It is awesome. I am such a fan, and I am so excited to meet you. When you start taking home those Grammys, will you remember us?
Of course,
All right, I love it. Zach Top, everybody, thank you so much for watching On the Record. We'll see you next time. Boy, this guy, June 21st, look for the album.